Hello, my name is Chris Coleman, and I'm from Whitefield. I've been teaching fourth grade for 9 years at the Great Salt Bay Community School in Damariscotta, Maine. I'm the 2017 Lincoln County Teacher of the Year, the co-director of Teach to Lead Maine, an organization that promotes teacher leadership in public schools, and I am also the president and lead negotiator of the Damariscotta Area Teachers Association. I come to you today wearing all of those hats to speak in support of LD240, an act to allow public employers of teachers to negotiate regarding educational policies. To prepare for my testimony, I decided that it would be a good idea to look at the comments of those who oppose this bill. There are a few common viewpoints that stood out as I was reading their opinions. It seems that many opponents imply that teachers shouldn't be making decisions about educational policy. First of all, this bill does not give absolute power to make any policy decisions to any one group. It only makes some issues negotiable. It is a negotiation. Teachers want a voice, not absolute power. As it stands, teachers have very little leverage when it comes time to negotiate. Without the right to strike, we are at the mercy of the school board. They could conceivably just say no to any request a teachers' union may make during a negotiation. That's obviously a separate issue, though. LD900. There is no transfer of power here, just the inclusion of more voices. Another unfortunate truth that seems to be pervasive in most oppositional testimonies is an overall lack of trust in teachers. This idea that we would intentionally negotiate policies that would somehow harm our students and community members? I hear language like behind closed doors and backroom deals that make it sound like we have very sinister intentions and only negotiate to serve ourselves. A recent article from the Maine School Management Association pushes this narrative to the extreme. In regard to negotiating certain educational policy, they write, "It will create a closed-door process where our most vulnerable children with special needs are used as bargaining chips." This comment cuts me to the core. My most vulnerable students are the sole reason I became a public school teacher. In 2007, towards the end of my student teaching at a very wealthy private school outside of Boston, I turned down a student job offer from that school because they did not have a special ed population. Instead, I took a $20,000 pay cut and returned to Maine to teach in a rural public school so that I could serve, to the best of my ability, that aforementioned vulnerable population. It is the greatest of insults to imply that a teacher would negotiate for their own personal gain a policy that would hurt those students who we dedicate our lives to, those students we sacrifice so much for, those students who we love like they were our own children. This crosses a line, and it is offensive, and it is insulting to all members of our profession. This bill is not some radical idea constructed by the MEA. It's time we join other states in allowing specific, not all, educational policies to be negotiated between school boards and teachers. Massachusetts, considered by most to have the best public schools in the country, allows their teachers to negotiate class size and workload. In Vermont, class size, prep periods, and workload can be bargained. Connecticut teachers can negotiate prep periods. Several areas deemed educational policy in Maine are mandatory subjects of bargaining in New Jersey, including the length and number of prep periods, teacher-pupil contact time, number of teaching periods in a day, and workload. LD240, an act to allow public employers of teachers to negotiate regarding educational policies, is about trust. It's about trusting school board members and teachers to sit down at the same table and make decisions that serve to maintain the professionalism and dignity of teachers and create an environment where children can succeed daily. If you trust teachers to do what's best for fellow teachers and the students we teach, then please vote for LD240. If you do not trust us to do this, then I'm afraid we have a much bigger problem on our hands, a problem that seems to only be getting worse: lack of trust in teachers. Who are the experts in Maine schools? Who do you trust the most to do what's right for the children of Maine? Thank you for your time.